Hello, everyone. It's the Pro Unitati podcast again with David Erebor and Chioma Aninwe. We have a guest today, Dr. Godwin Amobi, currently Global President of the Federal Government College Warri Old Students Association, if I'm correct. Also attended the prestigious University of Benin. And obviously he did his secondary education at FGC Warri before he proceeded to the University of Benin, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree, a 2-1, I believe, in geology in 1997. Dr. Allo, Godwin Amobi Allo, was awarded a Master of Science degree and a Doctor of Philosophy degree, both in applied geophysics by the University of Nsukka. His early career, he started with the Nigerian Coal Corporation as a mine geologist in 1998, where he participated in key projects, including the most recent National Coal Feasibility Study under the Nigerian Coal Resource Development Project, which was sponsored by the United States Trade and Development Agency. Wow. Okay. So I didn't realize that the American government partook in our mineral resources programs. I'm sure you'll explain a bit of that to us. Chioma is here as usual. Chioma represents Susosa, I represent TNN. We're the Pro Unitate podcast. Without much ado, we'll let our guest, Dr. Godwin Allo, introduce himself a bit more and give us an insight into his early childhood going through Federal Government College Warri. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Once again, I'm happy to be here. We've tried to put this program through some weeks back, but somehow we were not able to achieve that. But this is the right time, I believe. Yes, as you mentioned, I'm Godwin Amobi Allo. Started my life back in Enugu several years ago, and attended one of the most prominent primary schools in Enugu we call Ekulu Primary School. So many of us attended that school. I has been able to produce a lot. You went to that school? Okay, that's great.
A lot of prominent people that I know went to that school. A lot of people that I know went to that school. In fact, the President General, while in Enugu a few months back, visited the school. He wanted to see the school because he said a lot of people at FGC just went to that Ekulu Primary School.
Yeah, it's a great school. We were molded there, and most of what we achieved in life all started in that neighborhood in Ekulu Primary School. From there, I proceeded to, of course, FGC Warri. I arrived at FGC Warri on October 6, 1984. I can still clearly remember the day, on a Saturday, and how I cried and cried because I couldn't go home with my parents. We spent the next 6 years from that 1984 to 1990 in Warri as young men and young women, and had the opportunity to also be molded again by a school that is so great in terms of discipline, in terms of character, in terms of training us to be independent in what we do. And both from our JSS, my JSS primary, secondary school, up to the senior class, is filled with a lot of experiences, huge ones, and we are so appreciative of that. One thing is that even in terms of leadership qualities and imbibing in us those character of strengths and leadership. And leadership to train us to be very independent. Some of these things started from the structure we met in FGC Warri. FGC Warri has a very strong structure in terms of both the students' structure of governance and the school structure of management. I used to tell people that FGC Warri is a typical school where politics and the governance structure that we even have in the outside, in the greater society, started all the way from our school. Then you used to have what we call, of course, the prefects body. We also used to have what we call then a students' representative council, where you are elected into a council which acts maybe like a quasi-legislative arm of the school. So students elect those that will serve in different committees to take care of them. So the prefects were more or less like ministers, while the Students' Representative Council is made up of elected representatives. That structure was unique because it has to be a lot of balancing effect between those that we see as prefects and those that we elected ourselves.
No, have we lost our guest?
Talk to on some of our needs. And so all these structures helped us and molded us both academically, preparing us for leadership in the wider society, and that yes, we might not be where we want to be now. It's not only unique to FGC Warri, but FGC Warri still stands out even to date as one of the greatest and most prominent unity schools.
Absolutely, you're absolutely right. I think Warri is the second. I think they are par with. Is it Sokoto?
Sokoto, yes.
In fact, the origins of Usosa was as a result of trying to get your, is it 40th year anniversary?
Yes.
Along with FGC Sokoto. We covered this in podcast 2, wasn't it? If you remember.
Yeah.
Yes. So another very impressive thing about Dr. Alo is he's in tune with himself. He was humble enough to let us know how much he cried when his parents dropped him off. I can assure you we're all in the same boat. I chased after the car, but there was nothing I could do, Wow, so that's very impressive, and that still resonates with him at the moment. Chioma.
Yeah, thank you very much for sharing that with us. I'm just curious. Why did you keep that date of your arrival? Why have you kept it for this long? Because you were so certain that you landed this Warri on October 5th.
Yeah. I kept it, and because it's always good to look back. As you're moving forward, occasionally it's good to try and have a history of how all this started. And so that very first day, of course, just as TNN has mentioned, is not a day that any young child would forget so easily. I mean, that's the first day you're leaving home, even though you made the choice to leave home. But when the reality dawns on you, then you say, oh, wow, so I'm now going to be all here alone. But it also gives you some level of courage because you keep remembering that these choices at times were made by yourself. I made the choice to go to FGC Warri myself, all the way from Enugu. I chose FGC Warri as my first choice in common entrance, and I passed. My mom and of course the dad will always say, just go. But my mom didn't want me initially to go that far. But I was so resolute that I wanted to go out of home. But again, with all those strengths in me, which they saw that I wanted to leave home, when I was faced with staying
With the
alone,
reality.
the reality. So it taught me, but it didn't break me. Let me just be sincere, because I remembered also that I was telling myself, nobody forced me to go to FGC Warri. I took that decision myself. So why do I have to continue being in this shape? So 1, 2, 3 days, I was up, and here we are.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Fantastic.
This is one of the rare cases of people that actually chose the school that they went to.
Honestly,
a lot of people come here
I didn't choose my school.
I chose FGC Warri.
So it's nice to hear that someone actually chose their school that they ended up there.
Yeah, I did.
Absolutely. You finished from Warri, you went straight into University of Benin to read geology. Why geology? Again, why University of Benin, and how did geology and University of Benin shape you as a person?
Thank you. For it, it's good to know what you want and what you desire and go for it. I was in Warri, and occasionally I go home. I take what we call school exit. At times we have to take permission over Saturdays, maybe go out, go shopping. And I had a close relation who was working in Shell, an engineer then, communications engineer in Shell. So somehow the family, we linked up, and a young man then, and I visit him occasionally, not always. I live a very independent life. So I just felt I don't have to know anybody outside to enjoy myself or to make it in Warri. But somehow my parents kept, have you visited engineer Edwin? So I started going to his place. And he had a friend who is a geologist. Right. And whenever he comes, they will be gisting, they will be talking about the earth, drilling and all. So I got so interested. Of course, my parents wanted me to study medicine, to become a doctor. Funny enough, I took my senior cert, GC. I took it while I was in SS2. I was so young then. I didn't get to SS3 then. Wow. So, they had private GC, and somehow the school allowed some of us who wanted to register then under an arrangement to register for the GC, which I did. And I did JAM too. I had medicine as my first choice, geology as my second choice. And in that JAM, I can still remember I scored. That was a JAM that was marked over 300. There was a particular year that English was cancelled all over the nation. And that JAM was marked over 300. And I scored 188, then over 300. I couldn't get to the cutoff for medicine, but I got admission for geology. And my dad refused me to go in that SS2 because he felt since I still had one more year, instead of heading to geology, I should try again to do SSC now, even though my results were already perfect. I already had admission. So I had to forego that admission. So I did my SSC and did my JAM again. And I still was barely 6 marks away from the cutoff. And, parents of those days, if you don't if you don't score up to that cutoff, you're on your own. Nobody has time to start moving up and down for you. And I still got admission again for geology the second time. I had to go. My dad had to let me go now for the geology. So I had 2 admissions, one at a very young age in SS2 for geology, and on a second trial with all the reading and everything, I still fell short of medicine by 6 marks, and now I got admitted for geology. And that's how I went into geology. With that Warri also having presence of oil companies and geologists working there, it gave me some initial path to geology as a professional discipline.
Right, and then you go into Uniben.
So
4 years.
So I went into Uniben, and of course, Warri Uniben. Uniben is just like another bigger secondary school of Warri. Absolutely. So what I mean is that a lot of people that finish in Warri, most time, quite a good number would end up in Uniben. So I chose Uniben, maybe because proximity, maybe because my elder brother was also there. My eldest brother was in Uniben, so somehow I got that feeling that let me just put in Uniben, and I got into Uniben. Did my 4 years in geology, very tough department, but all departments are tough. Everyone will tell you his own is tough, but we know then that geology was one of the toughest departments you can be in Uniben and in sciences then. But somehow we were able to still show our mark and pull through. Out of a class of, I think we were about 40, we had 4 or 5 2-1s then, and I was one of those that had a second class upper graduating from that geology department. So, and that's how my career started. From there, to do my MSc and do my PhD now, very enough into geophysics.
So, our country is quite interesting. I did not realize, I'm just looking at your profile, and I did not realize so much how the country really is deep into geology in terms of, I'm just reading something now which says you participated actively in the airborne magnetic radiometric gravity and time domain surveys. What does that mean? Educate me a bit. I'm really curious, because when you hear of those kind of things, you think of time traveling or So please give me a bit of education on that.
Okay, so thank you. Just there are branches of geology. Geology is basically the study of the earth, which targets on the resources we can get from the earth. And there are different tools you can apply to have a hold on those resources. Resources are everywhere, but what makes a resource worth exploiting is the economic value of that resource. We have a saying that gold is everywhere and gold is nowhere. Gold is a native element in the earth. You can find gold in different parts or what we call geologic provinces, but in what quantities, in what economic values are you going to find that gold? So if I need to spend $1 million to recover gold worth $900,000, it doesn't make any sense. So I've spent, is it just because I want to see the gold? So there must be some economics before you can call a resource actually being sustainable and being of economic benefit. So, and geophysics is one of those tools that you can apply that can help you narrow down your resource targets. So if you're working, imagining the whole of Nigeria, you should be able to say, oh, if I move up north, this is what I expect to see up north. If I move down south, this is what kind of mineral resources I will be expecting to see. So it's a tool that can help you reveal some of these hidden natural resources, subsurface resources. Apart from targeting them, it can also help you to eliminate those areas. You don't need to bother to search for certain resources, so to say. So if I'm looking out for gold and somebody tells me to go to rivers or Warri to look for gold, with your skills as a geophysicist, as a geoscientist, as a geologist, you would be able to say, no need going to Warri to look for gold, because you won't find it. Even if they exist in any form, it will never be in economic quantities. So that's what geophysics does. So those airborne surveys are the baseline studies that gives you a broader view of what how these resources, or how this geology, how the earth behaves when it hosts a particular resource or when it doesn't host it. So if you have a natural response from the earth, then you can use gadgets or equipment as receivers to use those natural responses, or even induced man-made responses to target different things. Not only mineral resources, but even environmental issues, issues that have to do with buildings, foundations. So with geophysics, you can be able to determine the engineering properties of areas that can hold massive superstructures.
Right.
So even when you're talking of building collapses, we have found out that at times the application of the geophysics and geotechnics is highly compromised, some of these areas. So apart from using geophysics to look at the resources, it can also help you in other sectors, civil engineering, buildings, developing structures, flyovers, massive, maybe power plants and stuff like that. You can also apply it in water, searching for water, monitoring where you could have the best supply of water, monitoring how the abstraction of this water can also affect people living in those areas over time. So it has multi-sectoral application, resources, engineering, environmental, water, and even in geo-heritage issues, in identifying areas where you could have old, buried archaeological materials that could be of interest. So that's it for. So those, what you mentioned, the airborne, magnetics, radiometrics,
gravity,
time domain, gravity, all those have applications, special applications. Take gravity, for instance. Gravity, of course, has to do with how the variation of the gravitational pull on Earth, how it changes from place to place. And so you can apply it in mineral exploration, because many minerals or mineral commodities are identified by some properties, including stuff like density. So gravity responds very good to density. So if you have a mineral type, let's say a mineral we call barite, maybe minerals we call like galena, which are lead, zinc. These are heavy minerals. So where you have massive concentrations of them, you can use the gravity method to target them. The same thing with light, where you have minerals that are light, quote, then gravity would be able to show you that, yes, in this area, the earth is not normal because you have materials that are making the earth lighter, so to say, gases. You have gas in an area, then of course it's going to affect the bulk density. So these are the applications, and they are numerous, so much. We can't end this if I start talking.
Absolutely. Chioma?
David, if I attend this session 10 times, I would have to ask for an honorary degree.
Absolutely. You're right, Chioma.
10 times. I'm going to ask for an honorary degree, because this is very enlightening. Thank you so much for this lecture.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we're having this podcast, so somebody could watch and learn.
Yeah.
That's the mixture of having Yusuf-sans all over the place. So thank you very much. So let's talk value from in the course of your speaking about yourself and your work from FGC Warri to what you're doing now. We've mentioned some values, but I would like to hear, is there any particular value that experience, is there any particular value that you took away from your experience in FGC Warri that is you're applying today, that when you look back, you will say, oh, this is what I remember. This is what I remember when I was 10 years, when I was 11 years old boy in Warri, and it has followed me even into the boardroom and into who you are today.
Yeah. So if we come to values, I could just reel out typical general values that affect most young people. And I had to be have integrity. I have to be an obedient young person. I have to make sure that I don't do the bad things and the rest. But for some of us, one of the early habits or traits we imbibe in school, I mentioned it earlier, is that level of independence that FGC Warri brought onto many of us. You believe that you can do just anything, and there's nothing you can do that would attract failure around you. So it's a major spirit, and whether religiously or even by just having faith, most of the things you achieve have to do with how you view those things you want to achieve. If you have a strong will and that level of independence, that level of taking a decision and saying, oh, this is what I've chosen, and I will stand by it, and I will make sure that failure would never come around me. So it gives you a lot of push, because it will make you stay focused on what you want to achieve. It will make you independently on your own set timelines for yourself. Oh, before I do this what? So you're predicting what will happen in the next few years, because you don't just want to fail. So as you're moving, you're already predicting in the next 2 years, 3 years, this is what I want to do. It sounds like at times people say, oh no, when you people make it, this is what you always say. I say no. Some of us, when we were taking some of these decisions, we were not particular about whether you have made money or not. I started my career in Nigerian Coal Corporation. I served there in 1997, 1998. I served in Kogi State at the Kaba camp in Kogi State. After my service here, I was posted to Nigerian Coal Corporation mines in Kaba. Kaba is what we call an open cast mine in Kogi there. At the end of my service here, I was retained by Nigerian Coal Corporation and posted to Erebor. And my first salary is that 1998. I think I was just barely receiving like 2,000 something naira in a month then. And people might say, oh, that money might be big. Then it wasn't that big, because my contemporaries that were in the oil industry as at that time were receiving upward of maybe 50,000 in a month. And I was there receiving 2,000. Now, not that I wouldn't have loved to be in the oil industry receiving 50,000, but when I found myself there, I just told myself that, what are those things I can do? I started predicting, oh, in the next 2-3 years, if I'm not able to move to the oil industry as everybody, geologists, engineers were rushing, what are those things that will still make me stand out? That's how I went back to school. I registered for my MSc and chose a field in geophysics because of this independence and this I can never fail spirit. So I went there, did my MSc, and after doing my MSc, I said, "Oh, I have to start my PhD." I got my PhD like more than about, it's heading to maybe 15 years or 20 like 11 years ago. Okay, but I registered for my MSc just shortly after I finished school. So, but I was doing all those things because I was like, oh, this is where I am. I need to leave a mark. I need to be the best. If it's in the mineral sector that I found myself, I need to do something to make me stand out because this is where I am now. And that was how I started building my career. When government was carrying out commercialization of some of the government assets, including the Nigerian Coal Corporation, in 2000, when President Obasanjo was president, Coal Corporation was among those government organizations targeted for privatization, including, of course, the aluminium smelting factory company in Ikoda Abasi and so many other. So we were targeted. But guess what? When that event was going on nationally, government decided that they would retain one professional in each of the fields. So mechanical engineer, they will leave one person. Civil engineer, I was the only geologist retained. And because I became a personal assistant to the then MD, I was privy to the vetting on why they retained who. And when I saw my own, the reasons they gave was that, yeah, I'm the youngest geologist in the department, and I already had my MSc in geophysics.
Wow.
Out of about 9 geologists, I was the only one retained. When Madam Due Process, Mrs. Obieze Basili, was the Minister of Solid Minerals Development. So they went through a vetting. They looked at all our records, our files. We didn't know. I didn't know anybody. I didn't tell anybody that I should be retained. I was preparing that since government is closing down, we'll go to the next stage of life. And I was the only geologist retained in the Department of Geology and Exploration. And look at the reason. So it now still tallied with what I just mentioned, that I was already predicting that, oh, I needed to do this if I need to move forward where I found myself. Then from there, from Nigerian Coal Corporation, I now got employed with the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. That's how my career was taken to the next level. So those are the spirits, that strong spirit, and also having the mind to discern or to predict, to look forward and say, okay, in the next 2-3 years, as a young man, well, what would I want to be doing? And you prepare for it and provide guardrails that will prevent you from going off the track.
Chioma, I see resilience.
You took it out.
Yes.
What I wanted to talk about.
This is resilience for any young person listening. He said something. He said, I will never fail. If you incorporate that into your mentality, into your thought process, I will never fail, you'll find that will, when you are at your lowest ebb, will reignite your passion to follow up in life. Thank you so much. That was value, Chioma. That was value. Go on, Chioma.
As we're speaking, I just thought that across all the Unity schools, across everybody that we have interviewed, this word keeps coming: the resilience and the I can't fail spirit. So in the words of Chimamanda, when he says it, like every morning, some people just drink resilience, cup of resilience, and say, I will not fail. So thank you for sharing. It feels it's encouraging to know that we have something in common across board. And for the young person who's listening, who went to a unity school, this is what it's about, resilience. So I really appreciate you for sharing this story, David.
Thank you.
I need to talk about leadership.
Yeah.
What has driven you towards wanting to be a leader? Because currently you are the president of your old school association. You participate enthusiastically in USOSA activities. You are the president of Peskuna Foundation. This was established by your class set, I believe, in FGC Warri. You need to tell us a bit about Peskuna, but more importantly, what we know that these things, the leadership positions are non-paying, they're selfless. Why that drive? You give us an idea, please.
Okay. I wouldn't want to say that leaders must be born. Leaders could also be made. You can have a blend of people who naturally have leadership instincts in them, and those who are able to acquire this based on what they have observed in their immediate environment. At times, you might have both of them together. Maybe you have those skills in you, and you find yourself also where people also exhibit such qualities, maybe from your parents, maybe from your siblings, and you get some encouragement from that. For me, somehow, I would say I had those traits in me right from my young days in school. I also acquired some of those traits based on my immediate experiences from parents. And when we left school, of course, I was in school, I was class captain, I was a prefect, I was also the secretary of the council of prefects back then in school. And you might not really think these things would finally mold and shape your life. I mean, it will help determine who you would be really when you are beyond the four walls of your childhood colleges. So these traits have been there, but when I left school, I went for my service, started working, and I'm also someone who believes that you should do what you need to do at the right time. You don't need to wait for tomorrow. So when I graduated, immediately I registered with my professional body. At times people would finish and they would say, oh, these professional bodies, what do they really do? We just pay them money and they don't do it. You always hear that kind of thing. Whether it's the MBA, whether it's my professional body, Nigerian Mining and Geosciences Society, whether it's NMA or whatever. So these are the sound bites you will have around young people that I don't need to register. But I just felt, those guys, we just need to encourage them somehow. And I registered for my professional body. And after some time, Enugu was about hosting Mining and Geosciences Conference. Somehow I was elected into the committee to organize that. And we did it well. It went. From there, I continued my journey, both professionally and otherwise. I found out that the class of 90, after we finished school, we decided we needed to come together, and find a way of contributing and helping our alma mater, and also see how we can help ourselves. That's how the Peskuna you said you wanted to know more about.
Yes.
That's how it came about. That Peskuna is just derived from our houses in FGC Warri. So we
Wow.
have a house, Independence House, they call Pendo. So that PE Pescuna is Pendo. Then you have a house we call Schoolhouse, okay? And that's where you have the SC in Pescuna. Then you have a house we called Unity House. Then the last house in FGC Warri, National House. So
Wow.
those first two letters of is how we came with that name, Pescuna Foundation. And I can tell you that that my set was among, if not the first set that ever registered a foundation, you know,
Yes.
because we didn't want to say, oh, the people before us, they've not done it. We're just focused on what we needed to do, and we registered a foundation. And I became the second president of that Pescuna Foundation. One thing is that I don't shy away from leadership responsibilities.
Mm-hmm.
I don't run away from it because, as I said, I always believe that I will succeed. I will succeed, you know. So because of that level of trust in myself and belief in myself, I don't run away from it personally. Now, I also acquired some of these traits from my dad, my parents, especially my dad. My dad went to a school in Enugu, they call College of Immaculate Conception. It's a missionary school. I'm sure, what's her name?
Chioma.
Chioma would also know that school, College of Immaculate Conception, CIC, popular school. That's where my dad schooled. And from my childhood, I noticed he was so active in the school. I mean, their old students' activities, very active. I know I can still, as a young man, recall meetings that have been held in our house, including a big reunion that he hosted there for ex-students. And that school has also produced so many prominent Nigerians, so many of them, you know. And I noticed he was also the secretary of that association. Almost they left him there almost forever. Whenever he wants to say, oh, they say no, continue. And that we saw this encouragement, and we always wondering how were these guys able to do this thing. So apart from having those traits, what I also experienced around me also made it even stronger for me to believe that at any stage, if I'm called upon or if I aspire to lead at any point in time, it's just what I need to do. And I cannot be forced to become a leader, but I believe that once I make that decision to lead, then I have to work all out to make sure I succeed. So it's a natural thing in me, and also people around me helped me to imbibe some of these traits.
Let me ask you, as the global president of federal government college Warri Old Students Association, what are the limitations? What are the challenges that you face? Maybe a couple of examples of challenges you face.
Yeah. So now, alumni associations all over the world are never so easy to manage. It's not peculiar to us in Nigeria. Some of us have also had opportunities to belong to international alumni bodies. And you'll find out that even in the groupings we have, for those beyond the country, you always have these challenges of participation. I mean, bringing people together to participate. At times we might isolate it as being peculiar to us, but as I mentioned, it's not peculiar. But what you have to do is those things that is a major challenge. What are those things you can use to fill that gap or counter this challenge, which is not peculiar to you, but you experience it here and there. So you have to design, how do you counter it? What are those programs you can have that can help turn the tide, help you as a leader to make sure you bring out more people to participate. Before I became the global president, I was also the Abuja branch chairman of my old students association. I was the chairman for 2 years, and we were also having this challenge that we see always. How do you bring people to participate? And at times, you would also see that even those that tend to participate more in some cases might be the people from the older generation somehow. So times have changed. You need to be dynamic. You need to be innovative. You need to tap into some of these skills that the younger people, which some of us are bridging the gap. So, in fact, that was how I was elected, because most of our chairmen then, well, I would say people from the much older generations. And well, before I became the chairman in Abuja, they told me that you are in the perfect middle between the very old guys that left FGC Warri, our seniors, our respected living ancestors, I would call them, and younger ones. That since I stay in the middle, I should be able to help balance and see how we can improve on that. So we came out with programs that could also help the young people participate, and also help even the older people whom have always shown some strength in always being around to also be part of the program. Programs like, apart from, yes, we need to enjoy ourselves when we come together, but I always believe that alumni associations at times give a lot of emphasis on the alma mater without mapping out how they can help themselves using their numbers. And that has always been my belief, that an alumni association with your numbers, yes, our alma mater is good, we can do projects in school, we can help this, supply that, but amongst ourselves, how do we help ourselves? How can we help ourselves, And I went further even while I was a Pescuna president to establish a cooperative society for Pescuna. And that cooperative society was basically targeted to see how we can help ourselves using that platform and our numbers. And so we need to innovate. Alumni associations need to think deeply, innovate, so that you don't die. In everything, the world is too fast now that you must think innovatively, how to do things differently, and always analyze and look at statistics. I mean, look back. That's what I mentioned. So you look back. If we need to move in the next 2-3 years, what are the expectations? And you have to align with that. So how my message, really, I'm not giving a closing remark, but I need to mention this now, that alumni associations, apart from thinking, what do we do to this for the society? What do we do for our alma mater? Always think of, what do we do for ourselves? What can we create ourselves using the numbers we have,
What you've just said actually aligns with the President General of OSOSA's vision using technology. And that's why OSOSA are in partnership with Alumni Hub. Chioma, tell him a bit about Alumni Hub.
Part of, like he said, part of what we're doing now is to bring ourselves together and see how we can mutually benefit from ourselves. Because you're right, what we always think of, what is going on, what can we give back. But the people that are giving also have to be healthy enough to give back. So what Alumni Hub is doing is to bring all of us together under one roof, whether you are in Warri and ensure that the data that we have, assuming that you need someone under the field, a particular field, is there. Everybody is one dial away. Everybody is under one roof, regardless of your school. So that is what we are working towards, so that we can help ourselves.
I think they have a marketplace where you can buy and sell. They have a jobs board where we can employ the upcoming ones, where you can, for example, if someone is looking for a geophysicist, all they need to do is type geophysicist in, and it comes up. There is a portal for announcements, which means you, as a global president, when you make an announcement, instead of having to distribute it in 20 or 30 different groups, it filters down directly to your members. There's also a dues portal. From what we understand, people are reluctant to pay dues simply because of the accountability. So there's a dues portal which is very accountable. It gives you, as a leader, a dashboard to view the statistics, get the data, like Chioma said, of all your members, understand who has paid, who hasn't paid, prompt them when it's due for them to pay. And once they realize that there's value in making these payments, it actually helps improve the quality of the association. We can talk about this offline. In actual fact, the SecGen was going to set up a meeting between yourself and Alumni Hub. So offline, we can introduce you and talk a bit about it.
No problem. Always available.
Yes, I want to pass the baton to Chioma.
Thank you very much, because our time is almost up, but I must ask about your 60th. Warri is 60 next year.
Good.
So and one of the things I always say when I see the older schools and I see the younger alumni a bit struggling, what is the plan? Is there a plan for mentorship to even mentor the OSAs that are struggling? I see Warri as like a grandfather. A lot of so is there such plan as it turns 60, and what is the plan for 60th?
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much. And thank you for coming. I was waiting for my closing statements to talk about that. Of course, our 60th is coming up next year. FGC Warri was founded on the 16th of February 1966. So our 60th is next year. We are up in top gear, putting structures that would help us deliver a very memorable Diamond Jubilee come next year. But we have planned it to happen in 3 phases. We are going to have a Lagos event, we'll have an Abuja event, and the grand finale will be taking place in Warri. The Lagos event is going to be basically for us to have a time to come together, see what we can raise in terms of some of the projects we have back in school and how we want to help the school. So we have some targets, endowment funds that we want to establish. We also have an ongoing solar project. We want to create an alternative energy for the school, away from the public grid supply. So the entire school will be on solar before that anniversary. So we've started that program, and we believe it will be a legacy project that will be delivered then. We also have some other support we want to give the students. The students always attend competition. FGC Warri won the Climate Challenge competition that was organized by the Federal Ministry of Information in January. They won that. So these students go for these quiz competitions, national competitions. We know that they also need support so that we can keep up that momentum. So we want to create avenues that will be supporting them, both for the academic preparation and also support them financially. After the Lagos event, we are going to have a public lecture. Abuja here, where we'll have some of our eminent FGC old students and even members of the society in Abuja here with the Ministry of Education in our list of those Minister of Education, Minister of Information, Science and Tech, and the rest of them as part of those that will be in that. So we're going to have a keynote speaker, release that. We'll also have a prominent chairman for that occasion. And after that Warri event, we're also going to have our AGM because Abuja was approved for our annual General Congress, AGC, which will be coming up next year. So we'll be having that Abuja event next year in February. And of course the grand finale, which has some of these programs you have mentioned, training program, mentoring programs, sports events, cultural performances, staying with the students, and of course looking at some of the things that we had shared here, and seeing how we can share some of these experiences. We always do, but at every opportunity we find, it's also good to continue to share with students. And so the committee, Central Planning Committee, headed by one of our best, Mrs. Ifeku Omoigi, former executive chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Services. She chairs the Central Planning Committee for our anniversary. They are working hard to make sure, as I mentioned, they deliver this resounding, successful Diamond Jubilee anniversary as we look forward to. Thank you.
We hope to have Ifeku Omegui on the platform very soon. I knew her from childhood. She's more like my senior sister. Her father and my father were very good friends, you know.
Wow.
So hopefully we'll have her on the platform.
Yes, I'll let her know, and I'll prepare. She has a lot in her hands, but
yes,
I'm sure she will be able to create some time to be here too.
Thank you. Chioma.
Thank you. Thank you, dear audience. If you've been listening, I hope you've learned so much. This is the reason why we are here every now and then to share success stories from the walls of Unity colleges to the boardrooms, to the field, to everywhere there's a high-flying Yususan, making us proud. And this evening, you have just listened to one of them. Thank you so much, Dr. Godwin. Do not forget that you are one scroll, one click away from supporting this program by clicking on our YouTube channel, Unity Schools All Students Association, TNN. And I want to use this opportunity to thank TNN. David, thank you for this collaboration. Every time we have a guest, it reassures me that we're on the right path with this collaboration. So thank you very much. I don't know if you would have anything to say before we close out.
Yes, let me just say, for those who want to learn a bit more about our guest, Dr. Alo, within the next week, there will be a profile article on the New Nigerian. It's thenewnigerian.com. I will share a link with you. That is where we put the profile. And then we also put these videos on the Pro Unitate YouTube channel and the TNN YouTube channel. Help support us by clicking on the links, liking, sharing, listening to the podcast, most especially sharing it with the youth. We'll give Dr. Alo the last word, shall we?
Okay, so thank you so much, TNN. Thank you, Chioma, for having me. I really look forward to be here. And as I said, this is the right time. And I thank you for giving me the opportunity. I just want to once again tell everyone, especially the young ones, that some of these things we have mentioned here, it's not just because we are saying it because we want to say it. These are some of our experiences. and it's good to share them as I've just done. And at every opportunity I have, I'm also ready to share these experiences because it could encourage one person. Even if it's only one person it has encouraged, then we're on the right path. We believe that there's a lot of hope for our nation, for us, both in every sphere. If I take just, I digress a little bit, even in the mineral sector, which many people felt years back with the discovery of oil as if it was a dead sector, but you can see that it's beginning to bubble and bubble in great ways. Nobody thought of energy transitioning, and nobody thought of the day that we have to curtail our usage of maybe fossil fuels or the typical energy resources that we know. And people are talking of cleaner energies. So it tells you that the world is dynamic. And that's why you don't need to give up or lose hope, because you know that the next opportunity is just by your doorsteps. I'm happy that I came here, and thank you once again for the opportunity.
Dr. Alo, please just say a bit to your members in diaspora regarding your 60th, because this is a diaspora show. They will definitely see it.
Oh, so I'd like to once again share our plans for the 60th. We look forward to a strong participation from our members in diaspora. We have also included quite a number of them in the Central Planning Committee creatively, so that that buzz and that participation would also get to them. Now that we have our plan, which many of them have looked forward to, I'm sure it will give them opportunity to plan on how to attend, if not all the 3 events in Lagos, Abuja, and Warri, at least one of them, depending on their schedules and their timings. So we are looking forward to receiving them. They have also been very strong support for us in Fegokosa, and we don't take that lightly. That's why I mentioned that we have integrated some of them, including their leadership, in the planning of our 60th. So we look forward to having them here with us. We also going to make sure that those that don't come, they also participate, because we want all our events to be hybrid format, so people could join and also participate in these events, whether in Lagos, whether in Abuja, or in Warri.
Thank you so much, guys. We'll keep you for another minute while we let the audience go, and then we'll let you go as well.
Before we let the audience go
on, Chioma.
Just like to say to every user and to every Nigerian, we're better together. We are better together. So just always remember that. Thank you very much.